Hello again. This is Coach McCarthy. This is personal finance. This is 2.7. So before, and again, always review first. Talk about income, talk about passive income, money you don't have to work for. And most people think of wages and salaries as income, but there are a lot of sources of income. Right? The more you have, probably the better. We talked about setting financial goals so you know what you're doing, you have a purpose with your life, you're trying to go someplace, you have some things you're trying to achieve. We talked about analyzing your goals, the financial analysis form, what that looks like, just how much money you're going to need to get where you want to go. We talked about establishing a financial safety net, which is normally about 6 months for most people. And then in today's economy, you might want to try and make it a little bit longer. And that's just in case something catastrophic happens, you lose your job or medical or your house or car, just something to fall back on. We talked about figuring out our net worth, which is our assets minus our liabilities. And we talked about tangible and intangible, tangible being things we can touch, intangible being things we cannot touch. Yesterday, we talked about the concept of insurance and what it is and how it kind of works. We talked about policies and premiums and deductibles and all those kind of things. And briefly, we talked about that there are some different types of insurance. So today, which brings us up to today, determining our insurance needs. So, and like I said, we've been going on Investopedia a lot. They kind of come up a lot when we look at these types of topics and subjects. So, most experts agree that life, health, long-term disability, and auto insurance are the four types of insurance you must have. Now, let's talk about these real quick. Auto, yes, you have to have car insurance if you're going to drive. Health insurance, yeah, you do have to have health insurance. If you don't, you're going to have to try and get it from the government, but there are laws that you do have to have health insurance or else you have to pay when it comes times for taxes. So better to have it. Um, Long term disability, not a lot of folks have that. Some people do. Some people get it with their job, and some people have it on the side. Don't hear about that one quite as much as probably the big two of health and auto. And then the fourth one that we talked about is life insurance. As you get older, you start and you have a family, you start to realize that you're going to need some way to take care of them if something happens to you. When you're young, you don't really look at life insurance as something you're going to have right now. But hopefully you will never have to have it. Well, you're going to have it at some point, but hopefully you need life insurance a lot later in life. And that's if something happens to you, you would get that money. So let's look at Investopedia here. Let me get back up to the top of the article. I apologize. So, like I said, we've talked about insurances and what it is and premiums. Financial experts recommend we all have life, health, auto, and long term. So that's kind of what we talked about. So life insurance cover your funeral expenses and provide for those you leave behind. So if something were to happen to you and you pass, that's what's going to give those folks the money to help try and take care of you. And like I said, life insurance when you're young isn't really something that you're focusing on. As you get older, it is something you're going to need. Um, so we're not going to get into the depths of traditional whole life and term life on life insurance. It is something that you have to have. We'll talk about those a little bit later. Now, health insurance, talk about it a little bit, just not a whole lot. With health insurance, there are as many policies and premiums and different things as there are companies that provide them. So when you look at health insurance, you really want to look at the deductible to see what that's going to be. And there's in pocket and out of pocket maximums, and trying to figure out, and kind of like I talked about last time, with the premium, you're either going to pay a lot now or you're going to pay later with a higher deductible. So trying to balance out what's going to be best for you and for your family moving forward. And part of that is how often do you have to go to the doctor? So that's a big aspect. If you don't go to the doctor a lot, you can pay a lower premium and have a higher deductible because you're not using it a lot. If you are using your health insurance a lot, it's probably better to have a higher premium and better coverage and a lower deductible, so you're not having to pay as much out of pocket. And we talk about disability insurance in case something were to happen, that you can still get paid afterwards. So if you were determined to be disabled and can't go to work, that disability insurance would come in and help you with that. And then auto insurance. And again, we all have to carry auto insurance. There are fines and penalties if you don't have auto insurance. Every state is a little bit different as far as what the minimums are for your auto insurance, what you have to have. And auto insurance is based on your driving record. If you have a lot of speeding tickets, your insurance is going to be a lot higher, and you're going to pay that premium now. You're going to so if you have more tickets and your record is bad, you're paying a lot in the premium in the front, right? You may still have a high deductible, but they're going to charge you a high premium. So that's where you got to be careful with how you're driving. You don't want to get pulled over and get too many tickets. One of the other things that we don't really per se think about is another insurance that you have to have, and depending on where you live, you might have to have flood insurance. And a lot of us live around rivers and creeks and low-lying areas, and you have to have flood insurance for your property there if something were to happen. They also have hurricane insurance down on the Gulf. So there's a lot of different types of insurance. Some of it might depend on where you live, um, for what you need. Again, if you live on the river, you're going to need flood insurance. It's almost you mandated that you have to have it. So I found this a new website here. Note. I'm not real sure, but 7 types of insurance and got a little graphic for us. So life insurance or personal insurance, which is what we talked about. Property insurance, which would be for your house or maybe your business. You have to have property insurance. Marine insurance, if you own a boat. Oh, that one was. So if you own a boat, you have to have that. Fire insurance in case there's a fire. Liability insurance in case something happens. Guarantee insurance and social insurance. So let's look through these a little bit because there's some new ones on there. So life insurance, which is what we talked about, if something were to happen and you pass, property liability insurance and other forms of insurance, fire and marine insurance are strictly called property. Motor, theft, fidelity, and machine insurances include the extent of liability insurance to a certain extent. So, to some, but not maybe all the way. Property insurance, marine. So that's our boat. If we have a boat, you have to have a boat. You have to have a insurance on your boat. All right, and we talk about fire insurance, liability. The insured is liable to pay the damage of property or to compensate for the loss of person, injury, or death. Social insurance. This is a new one for me. Provide protection to the weaker sections of the society who are unable to pay the premium for adequate insurance. Pension plans, disability. Oh, so we know about pension plans, disability benefits, unemployed benefits. That is insurance. Unemployment is insurance when you're getting those benefits. So that's the social aspect of things that we talked about. And personal insurance includes insurance of human life, which may suffer loss due to death, accident, disease. So that might be closer to our life insurance that we've talked about, our property. And then let's see, guarantee insurance covers a loss arising due to dishonesty, disappearance, and disloyalty of the employees or second party. Party must be a party to the contract. So guarantee is probably going to be more around of a business situation. Let's go back to our thing and see how much did you carry. And again, that's a whole conversation unto itself. All right, especially with auto, there's different laws as far as what your state must have to have. Who needs life insurance, especially people that have dependents? If you're single and have no dependents with enough money to cover your debts, you might not need those kind of things. You might not need life insurance. If you have a family, I would definitely recommend looking into a life insurance policy. So to finish up, and again, there's several articles you can come in here and kind of research some more if you want to look at, and they'll tell you more specifically about how much you need and what you need. An interesting one. Um, life insurance needs calculator. How much life insurance do I need? So there's a lot of articles that'll kind of tell you what you're going to need best time, and especially with life insurance, based on your situation and where you're at in your life. But for us, the thing that we're going to focus on is going to be the main four: life, health, long term, and